Good morning, my beautiful babes and babettes. I'm your resident active advocate, and I would like to embark with you today on a series regarding bioethics. Ostensibly, what that term means is what you are legally and morally permitted to do and not do with a person on a medical basis, and this is especially applicable to people who belong to at-risk minorities. So people with disabilities, infants, the elderly, the ill, so on, so forth. In this series, while I will be discussing some laws, we did do a legal series a little while back, mostly regarding accessibility and especially under the AODA, the Access for Ontarians with Disabilities Act. In this series, however, I will attempt to stay more away from the legal side of things and go more towards the moral side of things. Because when it comes to bioethics, there are only very certain standards that can definitely be called objective. For example, one cannot go on a quote crusade to kill off all of the people of a specific disability minority. If we were to try to kill off, say, all the blind people or all the deaf people, that is genocide and that is not okay. It is understood that that would be a form of genocide. However, when it comes to the elimination of disability pre-birth, there are certain things that are permitted. There are certain things that may be on the horizon with genetic engineering, and we will be talking about those as well as about what bioethics permits when it comes to the end of life and to the end of care. Much of this regarding what rights are allowed and what rights are not allowed in terms of what you can do with another human being's body. They are legal, but again, a lot of this is just strictly moral stuff, and much of it boils down to what a person believes in specifically. Much of the time, we're getting better at this, at allowing people to make decisions for themselves regarding their own care and regarding how their conditions are handled. So that's a good thing, and that does happen much more often nowadays than it used to in the past. Yesterday, I presented to you the case of Ashley X. Now, Ashley is nonverbal, and she would not have been able to articulate what her own desires were. But when it comes to people who can, what are they permitted to say regarding their own condition? What are they permitted to say regarding what they want? And especially when it comes to end of life care, especially when it comes to even such a thing as a woman carrying a child and wondering whether she has a condition that could be passed on to the child. What are her rights in regards to that? What are her rights? What are the husband's or the partner's rights when it comes to him potentially passing on a genetic disorder and things of that sort? So this is a very, very broad topic, and I would like to tread as cautiously as I can. Within this series, I am going to have, of course, my own opinions about these moral standards and about what is legally permitted and about what is permitted just by general knowledge. Like I say, you can't go on a genocide and wipe out people of one specific disability group. I will, however, as I say, attempt to remain as objective as possible and to give you the bare facts that we currently understand regarding certain aspects of bioethics. This is very medicalized, by the way. Much of this occurs strictly under the standards of the medical model that we discussed ages ago. But this also happens in conjunction with other models, namely the social model. What should and should not be permitted on the basis of our equality as human beings. on the basis of the fact that we are capable of deciding for ourselves, that we are capable of saying that, yes, this should come out of my life, or this should occur in my life, or I should be permitted to make this decision for myself. So, as I say, much of it is medicalized, and a lot of the time, especially with minors, decisions are made by the family, by the doctors, by the caretakers, so forth, that the child may have less of a say in. But one of the things that I want to make perfectly clear as we go into this is that there is, in the medical realm, actually, at least in Canada, no age of majority when it comes to making decisions regarding one's own medical path. For example, if you opt to have a surgery that could aid in preventing the worsening of a condition, or that could aid in bettering a current condition that you have, you, as the patient, are permitted to make that decision entirely on your own. It is encouraged with minors especially, and especially if you are below the age of 16, that you consult with your parents or with your caretakers, that you consult with medical professionals. But inevitably, there is no age of majority, as I say, at least in Canada, when it comes to making decisions that will affect you later in life in the medical realm. So, with that as the basis for this series, tomorrow we are going to be diving into heavier issues. As I said yesterday, many of the videos in this series are most likely going to be age restricted because they do touch on some very sensitive topics. And I will be leaving content warnings both in the videos and in the descriptions when applicable. And we will go from there, but I expect maturity and intelligence out of my audience, because y'all are a mature and intelligent bunch, I'm sure. So thank you very much for your attention, and I will see you tomorrow to begin on this new series. Not entirely sure what I'm going to touch on first, but we'll get there. All right, thank you very much. Mwah.